Hi. Now, this is just an update on what is happening in DRC. You all remember that on March, I think it was the 13th of 14th of March, when the SADC decided that they are going to withdraw their army from Congo because they lost their lives there. The soldiers lost their lives. And it's not that they lost a war, but there were a series of meetings. The East African community sat down and had a meeting to see how they resolve the issues in Eastern Congo. They actually deployed the East African Defense Forces, which Tshisekedi decided he doesn't need the East African Defense Forces, and they left. But the same DRC is part of the SADC region. So he turns to SADC region and says, please, I need security to help me in the eastern part of Congo. And being a member state, the region has a mandate to deploy the army, or maybe deploy security and protect the people of a member state, which they did. We had soldiers from Burundi, soldiers from Angola, soldiers from Tanzania, Malawi, and South Africa, Mozambique. But a couple of them died. Not so many, but they died. Death is death. And losing a life or losing a soldier is not something that is so easy. So most of them stayed in Goma under the protection of actually M23. This is something that they will not tell you. When the M23 advanced and captured areas where the SADC forces were, they allowed the evacuation of those who had lost their lives and some who were injured, and the others had remained there, but they eventually allowed them to leave the country, which they are doing and expected to leave completely today. Now, according to South Africa, they reported and say when they arrive, they're going to go through the normal process of receiving soldiers from war, which include, of course, counseling, you getting unified with their families and how they get redeployed. But there's a process, at least to say that they go through therapy to overcome maybe the fears or what they saw. Because any soldier who comes from war actually goes through therapy. I didn't know this. I just learned about it the other day. And so what next for DRC? DRC is in talks with Rwanda. They were having a conversation, which is actually led by the United States. And that deal, or a peace deal, was supposed to be signed, or agreements were supposed to be signed on 15th June, which they didn't. In fact, the foreign minister of Rwanda came out and said that's not going to happen because there are a couple of things that have to be agreed on before they allow that signing. So is DRC exposed? No, because I don't think that M23 are going to make any other advancements. I don't think so. Given the processes that are happening, there's an Angola process, there's a Qatar process, and there's United States that have stepped in to make sure that this war does not escalate further than where it is already. So the M23 guys have not made any advancements. And in fact, I think that Kabila also came through and having talked to them and also the religious leaders, maybe they listen to him. Now, this is just speculation. This is not. This is just my thought or analysis. I think that Kabila, being a diplomatic person and being a former president who understands them, has fought against them before, maybe had a conversation with them and asked them to not advance further. That's what I think. But again, it could also be, on the other hand, that since DRC already believes that Kabila is behind or is supporting M23, it could also be that maybe he came to reinforce them and maybe make them stronger to advance, make more advancements like they have been doing. So that's happening, but let's see what happens. Where will it go? Will Rwanda sit on the same table and sign a deal? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see what happens on that story.